So some other things that we decided to gather for the Severe Weather Preparedness Week is questions from our audience, our lovely folks at home that just wanted to interact and ask, what is going on with the severe weather.
They texted us to this number. We send out text messages a couple times a week of little weather updates and fun facts. And then yesterday we sent out a text that said, hey, what severe weather questions do you have? If you didn't get that text, you need to sign up. To sign up, you have to text weather to 616-559-1310.
Okay, and you can still answer, you can still ask questions because I know Blake and Colton will be answering those questions tonight on 13 Plus, and of course throughout our newscasts as well. So let's, without further ado, get to some of the questions that we have here. Okay, first one. Hi, Samantha. What is our severe weather forecasted to be like this summer? More than likely more storms, or is it going to be less? Are temperatures going to be more warmer than average? And this is from just one of our text viewers. We don't have a name, but we appreciate the question. So we'll go to you for that one.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's a loaded question because obviously we haven't even started spring yet. So for us to be giving projections about summer, we kind of need to see how our spring season goes. But with that being said, we have consistently seen our summers trend warmer than average. So chances are we are going to see a warmer than average summer. I really have no doubt about that. One thing that I could foresee happening with storm season, because Lake Michigan got so cold, and I saw this happen Saturday morning with my own eyes, those storms were still tornado warned crossing the Chicago line and onto Lake Michigan. And the second that they crossed that threshold into our cold Lake Michigan, they fizzled out like that. So we need Lake Michigan to really start to warm up. And then that ends up being less of a hindrance to the storm's intensity. And once we get to that point in the season, those storms are going to take off and they're going to keep coming. But we might see a little bit more of a delay than what we did last year when we had a tornado in February, we had the Portage tornado, the windstorm, all these things happening. That was all before the month of June.
Well, just like we were talking with Carrie from Boyne Mountain, you know, we did kind of have one of those quote unquote revenge winters where we had a lot of snow, still have some snow on the ground from this last system that rolled through over the weekend. And yeah, so that makes sense.
So it could delay our severe weather season. I'm not saying that we won't see storms anytime in the spring season. We will. We just might not see as many, or they may not be as intense as they were last spring. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
For example, level 1 out of 5 as soon as tomorrow night.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Next question. Is it true that the sky turns green before a tornado? This question coming from Mindy.
This is a great question that us meteorologists get asked all of the time. So yes, the sky can turn green before a tornado, but it is not because of the tornado. It's actually commonly believed that it's the ice within the clouds that are causing that green hue in the sky. They start to scatter the ice particles themselves. They scatter those the light fragments into the cumulonimbus cloud, which is a thunderstorm cloud. They tower higher up into the atmosphere, which means they can tap in to more often ice particles. We also often see a lot of hail embedded within thunderstorms. And so when this occurs and we have a storm that's that strong, that's going all the way up into the upper atmosphere, that's got all these ingredients in them, and then is producing hail, that often has a really strong updraft. The stronger the updraft in the thunderstorm, the stronger the downdraft ends up being. And it's that could end up creating a tornado on the ground, but not the green hue in the sky. That's actually from the ice.
Okay, so really good advice there. I think it's interesting because you know, we hear a lot of things with tornadoes, right? We see the green sky. People always talk about how it sounds like a freight train coming through. We always get that soundbite, at least one soundbite every storm that we get. It sounded like a freight train coming through. It's just one of those things that people always associate with storms like that. It's really interesting to hear how that green sky comes about.
And if you do see a green sky, you should expect a strong storm. I mean, I think that's
pretty abnormal.
But you can't necessarily anticipate a tornado. It's just that there are a lot of ice particles embedded in the sky, probably big ice, probably chunky ice like hail, and that inevitably could lead to a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado.
Okay, so good to keep that in mind. Next question. Why is it during severe weather season that when Muskegon County receives straight line winds that they are not classified as tornado or as damaging as a tornado? This one coming from Timothy.
Yeah, so straight line winds can certainly cause just as much damage as a weak tornado, but the key difference here is going to be rotation. Tornadoes have rotating winds from the surface all the way into the upper levels of the atmosphere and a visible funnel cloud, where straight line winds are strong, downward gusts of winds that spread evenly across the ground, and they don't often get quite as much of attention because of that, because they don't have the funnel cloud associated with them. They don't often cause the chaotic damage that a tornado causes, but they do certainly cause just as much significant damage. And when we have very strong, significant winds like what we saw last summer, I think it was the end of June, we will get a severe thunderstorm warning that is destructive in title. And when you get that destructive in title attachment to the severe thunderstorm warning, you should take that as seriously as a tornado warning. And this is some of the parts of meteorology that I will say we need some improvements in, Tanner. I think communication science is just as important as the science itself.
Yeah.
And if we're confusing people by only issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for something as dangerous as 80-mile-per-hour winds, which is just as strong as a tornado, even a hurricane in some instances, that's where we need to work on in our industry. And I'm very transparent about that always. I think that it can lead to more injuries and more confusion sometimes than if they were to get that tornado warning, they'd probably head to their basement.
Yeah, I want to mention, I remember that day. I know that you guys were very, very transparent about, yes, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, but this comes with a very destructive tag on it. So when we're thinking about the Muskegon County windstorm, that's one thing. The storm that blew through Three Rivers a few months later.
Yes.
And Three Rivers is one of the areas that storm hit. That is completely different, and that was a tornado warning.
Correct. That was a tornado. And oftentimes you can tell the difference, or you can differentiate it on the ground. Tornado warnings are often going to cause things to be scattered in all different directions. So you can almost look around and see trees going in a rotated pattern, or homes being scattered in a rotating pattern, where when you show up to a windstorm, everything blows and falls over the same exact way. It's kind of really eerie to see.
It is. Okay, we have just about a minute and 20 seconds left in this entire show.
I'll be faster.
How to spot tornadoes that might hit overnight. Nocturnal tornadoes are extremely dangerous. This question coming from Daryl.
Incredibly dangerous because, one, you can't really see them. I mean, things you can look out for, sure, are flashes of lightning associated with it, power surges, that roar that you mentioned, Tanner, that's coming through, followed by oftentimes silence. But you should never, ever count on being able to visibly see a tornado, especially once they become rain-wrapped, which is often what we see here in West Michigan. You need to rely on your severe weather notifications. You need to rely on your meteorologist, and you need to have multiple means to gather severe weather alerts. That's going to be how you know, not because you're seeing it in the sky.
Something I want to point out too is that, when we do have those tornado warnings, you hear the sirens outside. Those sirens are for people outdoors.
Outdoors.
Yeah, so make sure you always have your warning.
I cannot stress that enough. That cannot be. We always say have two means to receive critical weather alerts. One, maybe your local TV station. I'll plug us. I don't care. Another maybe being your phone app, right? One can never be an outdoor siren. That's eliminated. Yes, they're great if you're at a football game.
Yeah,
that's about it.
That's about it. Let's show the text slate one more time, 616-559-1310. Text weather to that. And of course, we'll be back with more severe weather preparedness on Morning Plus tomorrow. Have a great day.